I ran a poll on my Patreon page a couple weeks ago, right before Link Summoning dropped, and basically the poll was just asking you guys which decks you wanted me to update with Link Summoning, and the number one answer was Zing Dinosaurs, and that makes sense because the most recent version that I did of Zing Dinosaurs was playing a lot of Zodiac cards, which doesn't really work anymore for two reasons. First of all, people just don't like seeing Zoo. But more importantly, and the reason that I've had to cut them from the deck is that Zodiacs aren't really a viable option when you're splashing them in this deck anymore because you need your extra deck spots for cards like Denglong. So no Zoo in this deck, and but I'm really excited because I think this strategy is actually really good going into Link format. I think it's actually going to be really good at Worlds too as well because so many decks are hit. This particular build takes a lot of inspiration from a lot of the trends that I've been noticing in the Japanese builds. This is like the second most popular deck over there. And yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here, so I probably should get to the deck profile itself. We have 3 Overraptor, obviously. I guess I should zoom in here. So we have 3 Overraptor, that's like the main searcher. I talked about in the last deck profile how I considered cutting into 2 because it's like a brick, but this version has a lot less normal summons because the zoos themselves were all normal summons without barrage, so I don't think it's a problem. And also, it's probably just too good to cut to 2. 3 Miscellaneousaurus is probably the best dinosaur, only because it's like the only one that doesn't like completely suck to draw multiples. Because if you draw multiples of this, you can still normal summon 1 and then discard the other to make a Denglong. And where if you draw like multiple Overraptors, they don't actually do anything. So Miscellaneousaurus is really powerful. We're only playing 3 Baby Ceratosaurus, none of the other guy. You don't really want to... These are like the least important dinosaurs, I would say. I know it sounds silly, but almost every single time your diagram just gets popped by like Cosmic Cyclone or Dryden or Ash or Ghost Ogre. It virtually never resolves, but you really need this card because hopefully, I mean, if you're good, you can draw Baby Ceratosaurus diagram and the Lithosagam so that if your opponent does kill the diagram, you can just summon the Lithosagam by destroying this, and then it's like wombo combo. This also puts just like a million link materials on the board if you need to do that. 2 of the Drac Tuner. In the Yang Zing version, you need to play 2 of this because you actually just need it in the deck to do your Denglong combo. Because with Overraptor, it's a 1-card Denglong, which 1 Denglong is 2 negations. I've done combo videos on it in the past, but if you need to, you can look those up. Basically, you just summon Overraptor, discard the Miscellaneousaurus, banish it to summon the Drac, make Denglong, send Chi-Win, add 9 pillars, and then that's 2 negations, because you negate something with 9 pillars, and then you... with the Denglong Engrave, you activate the Chi-Win effect, and then the Denglong effect to summon Chi-Win and Bian, and then you make Herald of Arclight, so it's 2 negations with 1 card. Anyway, you all probably knew that, but that's why I'm playing 2 of this, because you need those in the deck for the combo. One of the crazier things I'm doing right now is I'm playing 3 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. In the old builds, this card was quite bricky, and even though it's still kind of a brick, we're playing this card at 3 for 2 reasons. First of all, with Link Summoning out, you can't just spam extra deck monsters anymore. This deck in particular doesn't really have any great synergy with the current Link monsters that are out. I think the best decks to play Links are Earth decks that can play the Link 2 monster. But in this deck, you can't really do that. There's not like a ton of Earths to make use of. So having a guy that's like really threatening is great. But more importantly, it's a new spell that came out that we'll get to in a second where you can summon this guy from the deck for free, basically. And that's why we're playing 3 of it. And it honestly is really powerful because it's just like a BOS that can just keep applying pressure. And you can summon multiples on the same turn if you have enough dinosaurs. So it's, I don't know, I like it at 3, it's fine. 3 Lithosagam. This is the only True King that we're playing. Once again, the Water True King is good to have in deck, but boy, like drawing it really sucks. The only time that it's like not terrible to draw is when you have multiple diagrams. But just in general, like this deck already, we're kind of adding up to the brick counts because of how many Yang Zings we're playing now. But I don't know, you just only need the Earth guy, he's fine. For the Yang Zings, we are playing 2 Chi-Win, 2 Bian, and 1 Swanee. So I bumped this up from the Nats deck list because at Nats I was only playing 1 Chi-Win and 1 Bian. With the new trap card that just came out and the fact that a lot of decks just don't have as much disruption because they can only summon a limited amount of extra deck monsters, these cards are just a lot better. You really want them in deck to like keep doing stuff, and your deck is just a lot better if you have more of these in deck. I think that the Chiwin and the BN are the most important ones to have 2 of, as opposed to the Swanee. The Swanee isn't used that much. It's like kind of cool if you play 2 Swanee, but the second BN came up for me a lot more, so I'm just playing the 1. Next, we have 3 Photon Thrasher. I mentioned this card in the last Melee opening if you didn't watch that, but this card's really powerful. Basically, if you have this and Miscellaneousaurus, you can get to a Denglong without using a normal summon, which is really important. But this also helps the Yang Zings not be so bricky, because if you open Photon Thrasher Chiwin, that's your double negation combo. That's pretty cool. And then it also is really important because this is one of the cards that you can banish for the new spell card that just came out, just summon the Ultimate Conductor from the deck, because you need a dinosaur and a non-dinosaur engraved to do that. So if you have Photon Thrasher, Miscellaneousaurus, you can get to your double negation and summon the Ultimate Conductor from your deck. And no, this card's really good, really good. And I'm not playing Gofu because it's like, I don't know, this deck doesn't really need to summon so many extra deck monsters. You just kind of build around that. Whereas if you play Gofu and like rely on drawing it, like sometimes it's just going to get negated, or sometimes you're not going to see it, and then it's going to really screw you up. For the hand traps, 2 Ghost Ogre, 1 Max C. Pretty standard, I think, for this sort of infancy stage of Link summoning. Not much to say there. Definitely side the Ashes if you have them, just because they're really good against True Draco, but not against like anything else. That's it for the monsters. There's a whole bunch of them, but the spells, we just have a lot of 3-ofs. So we have 3 Dragonic Diagram, pretty much the best spell in the deck, I would say. Although, like I said, it almost always just gets killed immediately. 3 Terraforming to search it out. 3 Fossil Dig. This is like the card that you guys always say that, like, oh, you're not playing Fossil Dig, because I just go by it so fast. So I'm just going to pause for a second so you guys can see that I play Fossil Dig. It's really good. It's a searcher. 3 Double Evolution Pills. So this is the new card. It came out in the Battles Legend set. I pretty much already described the effect, but basically you just banish a dinosaur and non-dinosaur from your grave to summon Ultimate Conductor from deck. There are no other restrictions besides that it's only once per turn, and you can still attack with Ultimate Conductor. You can still use its effect. Nothing else like that. But this card is really powerful, and it makes this, honestly, it just makes this deck super threatening, because you can like do all your normal stuff that like leads to negations, and then you can just like summon Ultimate Conductor from your hand. If they kill it, they kill it. You activate this, summon the second one from deck, and a lot of times that's just like too much for your opponent to handle. Like this card a lot. I was kind of on the edge about it, sort of like with Giant Rex as well, but I think this card is definitely like a staple at 3, in Link format at least. 1 Soul Charge, 1 Yang Zing Path. Those are like the one. So you need the Path because with the new trap card that we're playing now, you almost always summon Denglong twice, so you need something to search. That's it for the spells. Pretty much anytime that you see a hand with like a lot of those spells, you're usually in a good spot. For the traps, we are playing 1 Yang Zing Path, so that's the main target for Denglong, especially on the first turn, and then 2 copies of Back to the Front. I don't know how I feel about this card at 3 or 2. Definitely it needs to be more than 1. But what this does, it's pretty much just a Call of the Haunted, but it's in defense position, and it's not a continuous trap card, so they can't just pop it with something, and that's really, really important, in my opinion, because that means you can actually do it. You can use this to bring back a properly summoned Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, but the main use for this is that you bring back Denglong, because then you get the Denglong search effect on your opponent's turn, and then you can like use this to bring back the Yang Zings, to use the like Swanee and Bian to then synchro on your opponent's turn as well. It just makes a lot of your openings like way stronger, especially when you can have like Overraptor and this. That's just a really powerful opening. However, it can be pretty bricky, especially because our deck's already like playing a lot of bricks. Like you can open some really awkward hands that are like Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, Double Evolution Pill, Photon Thrasher, and then like this. And it's like, well, what do I do then? Luckily, almost all the cards that are good in this deck are 1-card starter cards, like having like a Miscellaneousaurus, like any monster, or like Overraptor, or like Diagram. All those cards just by themselves get you there. So usually you can just play out of the hands where you brick these. But yeah, it's really powerful. Don't know how I feel about 2 or 3, but for right now, especially because this deck's already over 40 cards, 2 seems to be the right number. For the extra deck, we have a lot more synchros than last time because we're not playing the Zoo cards. So you have 2 Denglong. This is like the main monster that you make, just because it's the guy that gets you to 2 negations. 1 Herald of Arclight for the combo. 1 Chainbara. This card's just ridiculous. It just lets you win games that you shouldn't win. Yazi is really good. This is like the number 1 card that I was missing when I was playing the Zoo monsters, is I always wanted to make Yazi, but I couldn't. But yeah, it's really good. Just like things that like apply pressure. 1 Black Rose Dragon, especially if you can make this on your opponent's turn, you're like golden. It's just really powerful. 1 Boxia. It's like another card that's like really powerful. And if you open Denglong and then this card, you can send Swanee with the Denglong and then do this to bring back Swanee, and then synchro with the Denglong and the Swanee to summon Boxia. That triggers the Denglong effect to get a guy from grave, and then also you shovel 2 cards back into your opponent's deck. So pretty good. 1 Omega, obviously pretty good with Link Summoning. Also, you can recycle all the cards you banished with double Evolution Pill and or miscellaneous sources. So that's really powerful. 1 Chao Feng, still probably my favorite level 9 synchro. I am playing a Trishula now. Trishula just has a lot more power now that there isn't so much disruption in the game, but Chao Feng is almost always the option to go for just because it's like a floater and it adds hand traps to your hand. And you can, the one thing that I see not a lot of people doing is that you can bring back the Chao Feng with the Lithosagum effect if you destroy Lithosagum. That's like really good. For the Exceed monsters, 1 Lagia, 1 Dolka, pretty straightforward there. Those are like your standard guys that you make. Just because I wanted something to make if you had Photon Thrasher in level 4 and playing Dweller, there's not really like a better option. Emerald isn't really that great in this deck without the Zoo monsters, so Dweller is fine. And like I would play the Utopia monsters, but they take up 2 extra deck spots, and the extra deck is already kind of tight. 1 True King of all Calamities. If I always used to say this card is like the worst card on the deck, and it's just like the biggest bait ever, but that's especially true now that Link Summoning's out. You can almost never make this card, and if you can, you probably already won anyways. But a lot of times, it's just better to make Synchros and your Lagia and Dolka instead of this card. But still, it's in there. You make it pretty much every time you have Soul Charge, basically. And then lastly, 1 Decode Talker. There's like no other good generic Link monsters right now. You're never gonna have an opportunity to make Firewall Dragon. I don't even know what else you would play. Like the Earth guy, you can't really make too well. The Gaia guy is like okay, but not as like a starter card. There's just not a lot of good Link monsters right now, and we're not playing Gofu, so we can't make Link Spider. So it's Decode Talker. It is. I don't know. I mean, if you can like make this and like the 2 extra deck spots, you're like probably already gonna win that game. It's like weird though, because like if you can make this and then you can only make 1 extra deck monster, you might as well have just not had made this, basically. So you only can make this when you can make the 2 extra deck monsters. I mean, its effect is like kind of relevant, but not like really. And a lot of times you just have to invest like 1 billion cards to make this, because we don't have any like way to link climb to it. So you always have to just take a straight -3, and it's just, or -2, I should say. And it's just, but you have to play it just in case it comes up. And anyway, that was the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed it. The deck that got the second most votes was Fluffles, unsurprisingly, so we're going to update Fluffles, but I have to get the Earthlink monster before I can do that. And anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.